All right, 3:38 a.m. We're flying to Kansas City today. It's vlog number 1.
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll get you in there. Any thoughts about being up this early?
My eyes hurt.
Your eyes hurt.
I wish Chick-fil-A was open.
Dude, retweet it times 1,000. Basically, this weekend I'm flying to do merch and shadow this guy Nick for 3 shows. Got through security very quickly. I just landed in Atlanta, about to fly to Kansas City. I'm waking up, I overslept. We're landing on the ground. The voice over the intercom says baggage has been found. You're jet lagged and amused. I'm exhausted, it's too soon. Oh. You keep me up at night. Old friends around the fire. Someday I hope you know. What's going on, man? Having some ramen right now at Shori. Ramen and KC right across from Monarch. I'm about to go over to the hotel, but just hanging out for now. Here we go. Whew, what a day, y'all. Just got back to the hotel about an hour ago. So to recap, and obviously you'll have just watched all this, so whatever. But got up at 3 this morning. Flew through Atlanta. Got to KC at like 9:30. I went to Monarch Coffee to do some advancing work for Company X. I'm doing some show advances, which we can talk about what that is in maybe another vlog or something. I did some Chasing Ellis stuff, put together some video content for some releases I've got coming up. I got some good ramen at a local spot. But as I was sitting here, I wanted to kind of wrap on, something of substance a little bit, and that, isn't just me traveling. So I was thinking about a conversation I had with my roommate and buddy Chris right before I left him. We were just talking, and it came up, and he kind of like prompted a memory of mine. Some just like really good advice that somebody gave me, and it was my freshman year at school. I was 18. My band that I was in at the time, called Constellations, played this thing called Showcase at Belmont. We played Christian Showcase, and there's a bunch of them, but basically Showcase, for those of you who aren't in Nashville or don't know what Belmont is, it's just an opportunity for like student bands to play for the school, so that you play it in like the basketball arena, and it's really actually a pretty cool and unique thing that I think like as a Belmont student I sort of took for granted and thought I was too cool for. But as I've kind of traveled to a lot more schools over the past couple months, like really it's very unique. But anyways, there's always like a panel of judges at the end, and so ours was no exception, and we played, and some cool judges, and there was one in particular, and I honestly I don't even remember the guy's name, but he was this older dude who produced a lot of Christian music, and he's got over like 200 Dove Awards and like 15 Grammys and like all this, seriously accolades or whatever. I don't remember the guy's name, but I remember getting done. We played last, and this was literally like 2 weeks into Belmont, so at this point you kind of think like, man, like I'm a big deal, like I'm at Belmont and playing Showcase. Like I was, we were getting kind of stoked on ourselves a little bit. So we got up to the room or whatever, and he was like, so like, why are you doing this? I was like, well, I sort of feel called to music or whatever. And he's like, no, you don't. And he like got in my face about it and was like, you don't feel called to music. And I was like, well, I just like told you that I feel called to music, so like, why are you telling me that I'm not called to music? And it brought up an interesting conversation, because then he went on to say that like music is not the calling, it's the vehicle. And whether you're a Christian or whatever or not, like if you feel like you're meant to do music or your purpose is music, and man, that's what you feel like is going to fulfill your destiny, like, then like what happens when you don't make it, right? Because it's a 1 in a million reality is, right? This is just the way it is, you know? So like, if that's your purpose and you don't make it, are you a failure of a person then? And the answer is no, right? And so I think what it should lead to is to say, well, actually, like, that can't be my purpose, because like that depends on so many factors, like outside of yourself, where like if my goal is to love people and the vehicle that I do that through is music, that's achievable, right? Because my goal doesn't depend on factors like success and privilege and convenience and all these different, you know, things that kind of play into a music career taking off, or whatever the career is, you know. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of my thought for the night. It's just like, if you feel like music is what you want to do, I challenge you, I suppose, to just think about why. Because ultimately, I think, myself included, and I buy into this all the time, but if music is my goal, like, I'm gonna end up disappointed, because there's no way that it's ever gonna look exactly like I want it to for my entire life. Like, even if it does for 25 years, even if Chasing Ella or whatever, Vacation Manor or whatever I'm involved in explodes, right? Like, what happens after 10 years or 15 years when I'm 35 and off the road? It's like, am I useless then? And I think there's a lot of artists who kind of go through that, right? Is their identities in what they're doing, and all of a sudden their music isn't cool anymore, or they just, for whatever reason, are too old or whatever, and it's kind of like, well, what now, you know? So, I don't know, just food for thought. Speaking of food, I had a very dank salad that is now gone that had Granny Smith apples and candied walnuts and some grilled chicken with some goat cheese and a little bit cranberries in there. And y'all, stay blessed. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first show. There's 3 this weekend. We're doing KC, Chicago, and Minneapolis, so should be a rager. But thanks for watching this whole video. Appreciate it.